everyone, welcome back to another episode of Driscoll Decoded. My name is Angela and I am your host for this podcast.
And my name is Tori. I'm your co-host for the podcast today.
So today is a very interesting episode. We'll be talking about screen time and everything that entails with it. So to support that, this is actually going to be our first audio episode. So no screens, not for this one, in fact. So just audio. And we actually have an exciting news with that. So drum roll, please. We are now live on Spotify. Yay. So this will be our first audio episode to match up with our Spotify feature. We will link down below in our comments the link to it so you can have access. And now, instead of watching the videos, we can just stream along with our headphones, driving the car, everything like that. So follow us on Spotify, but continue to follow us on YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything of that nature. And we'll go ahead and get started. So today's podcast expert here, he is a medical director here at Driscoll Health Plan. He is board certified in family medicine, brings nearly 2 decades of experience in emergency medicine and wound care, hyperbarics. Did I say it right? Mm-hmm. Nice. Hyperbarics. And having practiced in both San Antonio and Corpus Christi, Texas. Dr. Doucet has also served as the physician executive with Christus Hospital and Optum Health for 13 years. In his current role, he focuses on utilization management, quality improvement, and provider engagement, all guided by his philosophy of getting the right service to the right person for the right reason in the right setting. Nice. Welcome, Dr. Dan Doucet.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So if y'all have heard, I know y'all have heard of Doucet before, and she is actually the wonderful wife of Dr. Dan Doucet here today. Mm-hmm. She has been on a couple of episodes in our Driscoll Decoded, so go ahead and check those episodes out. So let's begin. We're going to actually start with an icebreaker. So Dr. Doucet, do you have an iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay. So let's pull out our iPhones. And what we're going to do is check our screen time average. So we're going to expose ourselves here a bit so we can level the playing field here. So we'll go to our settings and then we'll just search screen time. All right. Okay. So I will go first. My daily average is 4 hours and 10 minutes. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that good? Is that bad?
What's yours?
Okay. Mine is 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Mine is 2 hours and 43 minutes.
Oh, as it should be. I believe that is actually like the natural, not natural, but like, what's that average we looked up?
Yes, we looked up the average recommended time for an adult, and it's 2 hours or less a day.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Wow.
So we're going background here. What is yours, Grayson?
Oh, no.
Okay, just to preface. Let me go over here, Mike. Just to preface, mine is 30% down this week. Okay. So
amazing.
we have a
Great
positive note, right?
Okay.
7 hours and 9 minutes.
Grayson.
What is...
This is true, though.
Okay.
This is true. Grayson and Jeslyn work on their phones for a living. So this is...
8 hours and 9 minutes.
Jeslyn is 8 hours and 9 minutes. So, as you can see, screen time is just so inevitable, especially now with careers like just taking
Very
off
true.
on just digital media.
Right.
And then, well, just like the average everyday goer. But your position is also in social media.
Right. My position it requires me to be on my phone a good bit of the day. So, I mean, it does make sense, influencer, content creator, whatever it may be in that digital realm. Our screen time is definitely going to be higher than the average.
But that is a goal.
Those are all good excuses.
So he had the optimal time there.
Yes, he
of
did.
2 hours and 43.
Okay. So, but, disclaimer, I don't do social media.
Okay.
So mine is pretty much text, very few searches.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay. So do you have like a laptop at home?
I do.
So do you see yourself just getting on more on that just to like for your actual like search engines, or like do you rely on your phone more?
Probably computer more for search engine. And really I just work. I really if I don't have to be on my phone,
Yeah.
I'm not. In fact, I get
Yeah.
in trouble because my phone is not usually with me all the time. So perhaps my wife can't always immediately get hold of me. So that's probably why my screen time is down.
So that that makes a lot of sense.
does.
I know there's actually this trend going around of people bringing back landlines. So they're buying phones from Walmart or from some other stores of like $40 purchase, one time only, and
I love that.
making that part their landline. So they're putting away their phones now. And well, so they say they're putting away their phones now. And the only people who call them, I mean, for me, would be like my parents.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
And just, living off that landline now instead of being
My
addicted to the phone.
my future in-laws actually still have a landline. So I think they spend more of their time talking on their landline than they do on their cell phones, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of bringing trends back. And if a trend is going to be brought back, I think that this is a good one to bring back, in my opinion.
I mean, I like the convenience of having a phone, and I use
For
it
sure.
a lot.
Agreed.
I just don't, I have a Facebook account, I guess. I think I've been on it once
Maybe
in
you
my
can call
life.
it that.
I have a linked account that I've been on like twice. So I'm just not a social media. I don't do TikTok. I don't have Instagram. I don't have any of those. So I'm just not, it just doesn't do much for me. So
If you had to take a guess of your children's screen time, what do you think that would be?
Good question.
actually, I think we've done a pretty good job with our kids as far as, when we're at the dinner table, there's no phones. They like to read. I mean, they're all teenagers and above, but they would rather pick up a book than be on the phone.
That's
So I'm sure they
wonderful.
still have significant screen time just because that's the way their friends, I mean, they wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
communicate with their friends.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that if you ask any of them, they would prefer that friends put their phones down. They get frustrated when they're in a group and they're the only ones that are not stuck on their own phone. So,
Wow.
That. I love that.
That's amazing.
That really is. And I mean, how old is your youngest?
she's a senior in high school.
Okay. So I found out my kindergartner, they're using computers now. And I'm like, what? Like, I have never even shown her a computer. I mean, she sees mine, but she doesn't know anything about it. And that's actually how they took their first test. And so when they were testing, like, her actual, like, intellectual, like knowing her material, we saw that she got a very low score. And I was, like, freaking out. I was like, oh, my gosh, did I fail you? Like, just, like, within these first couple
did I
of
do
months, did I
wrong?
do wrong? And she said, no, when we had the parent-teacher conference, it was actually because she just didn't know how to maneuver
to use the computer.
I'm like, ma'am, why are these being tested? And, of course, yeah, all school districts are different. But, yeah, even 5-year-olds being tested on a computer, and there's not a correlation of if they're knowing the material compared to, like, computer skills.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky balance, right? Because screens are here to stay. Phones, computers particularly,
Very true.
they're not going anywhere. So you have to figure out how to negotiate and be adaptable and to be efficient on them. I will say that whenever schools started incorporating, and really when the social media and the electronics came out hard, particularly with the portable, like the phone in your hand all the time, that the Silicon Valley executives who were developing these programs would not allow those in the school. They sent their kids to schools where they could control the fact that they were going to stick to books and writing, not electronics. Now, I don't know how that's gone over the years because I don't know if you can get around it, but even they realize the addictive nature of that aspect. And also, it's not like you can't use them for educational purposes,
Right.
but there's a lot of passivity to it so that it doesn't sometimes stir the critical thinking aspect. So then that's why you get some of those delayed cognitive and, the delayed development, and perhaps, you need books as
Right.
well as you need screen time. You can't just do the screen time all the time.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. And it's funny because we did a team building at one of the escape rooms at the Lexington, and these, like, just clues of what you're trying to figure out, I think we came to a realization, like, oh my gosh, like, we need some actual, like, brain
Yes. I thought
stimulating.
I thought that to myself.
activities.
I was very, very stumped and kind of, disappointed in myself a little bit that I wasn't able to really critically think it out and logically think it through.
Yeah.
And I said out loud I said to Angela, I need to practice more brain stimulating activities in my life.
Yeah.
So there, and we can probably get into some of the details of like how you get to this point, but now employers are concerned about the new hires coming out because now we have this generation coming out that's been exposed for their lifetime to electronics and to screens, and they don't have those soft skills. Like they may have some hard skills from, being able to just do simple things, follow directions, but some of the critical thinking, to be able to respond on your feet to situations, they're afraid to put them in positions to where if a critical thinking was required, they wouldn't be able to do it. So now you're limiting your future employment and or even if you get employed, where you're going to be within that company based upon you haven't developed those critical thinking skills. So I mean, screens are fine. They have a lot of benefits, but with everything, there's the good and there's the bad, right?
Yes.
For sure.
And it does affect developing brains. I mean, even our brains at an older age, still, it has a negative impact if you're on, particularly the passive part of the screen. Not the educational aspect, but just listening, watching movies all the time.
Like doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah.
I didn't know the word of it was, but yes, that's
Yep.
and things that don't stimulate your brain or require you to really think has a long-term impact, but particularly in kids when they're developing, that's even a more critical aspect.
Yeah.
So it really needs to be recognized and then take some steps to mitigate some of those negative effects.
So what would you say is appropriate screen time average for, I know we try to avoid them, but with children, it could be inevitable with some like family situations or settings or something like that. But like, what would you say is the appropriate screen time average?
So American Pediatrics in general, they've got some kind of guidelines. So I would say between up until 2 years of age, they really shouldn't have any screen time.
Okay.
Video chatting with grandparents is fine, but you shouldn't see someone in a stroller with a screen, mom's phone up to their face, babysitting them, completely unaware of their surroundings, right?
So like even grandparents, like when your grandparents are watching them and having the screen on the TV and just like letting the day.
And if you watch, if you see kids without screens and how they're interacting and they're going out and exploring and they're taking toys or even things that aren't toys and making a toy out of them versus a kid who's on the screen and they're just locked in. I mean, they're oblivious to the world.
Yeah.
It's addictive. I mean, we all know that, right?
It is.
Yeah.
100%.
It's been proven. So from 0 to let's say 2 years of age it's an easy thing. Just no screen time.
Okay.
From 2 to about 6, no more than 1 hour a day. And then try to make it quality, not just, garbage going in.
Yeah.
Some kind of quality content. And then beyond 6 years of age, it's, you really should be 2 hours or less.
2 hours or
So
less.
it's
okay.
0 to 2, it's 1 until you're 6, and then it's 2 thereafter.
Okay. So I know your kids are all older, but have you seen or heard of like Miss Rachel or like those educational YouTube videos that
Yeah, I've only watched a few YouTube videos in my life, probably.
Let me see. Let me show you something.
Let's pull up some Miss Rachel education.
Yes. She is like known for helping with like
Is it speech mostly?
Yeah, speech development
Okay,
and through her methods through her YouTube video. Let me see.
If you want to see it.
Oh, it's pausing.
Hello. Where's Miss Rachel?
Billions of views.
Billion.
Billions of views.
Peekaboo. That's such a fun game. Look. It's a surprise box.
So
So,
Take out a surprise.
I saw 17.7 million subscribers to that.
oh
So you can
my
only imagine,
gosh.
one, how much screen time their children are getting, but two, like how many people are really being affected.
And how young it's
Wow.
Yes, and how young it's beginning.
And how many people are relying on Miss Rachel?
But they don't need to do it and just rely it on the
Right.
screen.
Well, I mean, okay, so just think about the last week or two when you're out and about. So,
Okay.
like we mentioned before, someone's in a stroller, phone to their face. You've got younger kids that are walking that literally have a phone in front of their eyes with both hands. And the only fact that they're kind of somewhat behind their parent is the only way they know they're going. Like they could walk into a street because
Right.
they're so engaged, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teens, how many teens have you seen? I mean, even at school events, like there'll be a whole table of teens.
Yeah.
Not a single one of them are looking at each other. They're all on their phones. Or you go to a restaurant, a whole family. A whole family
Oh,
can
yeah.
be on their
Yeah.
phones.
Even a whole family,
They're not
yeah.
even looking at look,
Even couples I've
Even
seen.
couples. Oh my. Yes.
So and again, I'm not against screens. I think they brought a lot of utility. They're efficient. They're convenient. I mean, you've got the world's information bank at your fingertips.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, you had to go to the library and pray that you could find a book, and then pray you could find the page in the book that had the answer. So, I mean, it's a powerful, powerful tool. But
It is.
but I don't think we realized how much it's taken over our lives unless you really step back and look. Like I go on a yearly retreat that's a silent retreat, and so it's 3 days
very
of
cool.
nothing but just prayer and everything else.
Wow,
And when
love
you
that.
come back into the world after those 3 days, like you understand then the noise, what they talk about, the noise around you, and a lot of it has to do with screens and things that screens produce. And so, man, I think taking some holidays from the screens, not only daily. I mean, first of all, you need to limit your time daily. Like sleeping, people do it right up until their time they go to bed. Well, the blue light effect actually impacts your melatonin, which is in your brain, helps you actually fall asleep and stay asleep. It also it will affect your circadian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is that part, like pretty much everybody wants to sleep at night, being awake during the day naturally, more
Right.
or less. Not everyone, but should be. That's your rhythm, right? And that's going to affect that rhythm. Well, I mean, sleep is an important component to health as far as that's when things recover. So screen times can even affect that part.
Man.
So like for 1 hour before bedtime, you should put away all screens, no TV, no computers, no anything, just completely at least 1 hour
Okay.
free of screen time to help with your sleep.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, in my life, my fiance works midnight shifts. So he's on swing shifts, he works at a refinery. So when I'm alone in the house, it makes me feel like somebody's with me, and I kind of get a comfort from having the TV on. I'll have it on while I'm reading a book just to make me feel better and have that comfort level there. But I've noticed, and when you mentioned that, while you're sleeping, you heal and, you wake up feeling more energized, I noticed that it has an effect on when I go to the gym. If I'm watching the screen too late or, fall asleep with it on, I don't have as much energy and I don't have as great of a workout when I'm at the gym the next day after that. So,
I mean, it's a proven impact.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about it.
So what would you say to the adults like us here, 8 through 5, at a screen all day?
Yeah.
What would be some tips that you give to them to just help with that intake of screens?
Yeah, I mean, at work, obviously, I'm on a screen all day long as well. And then sometimes I go home and I'm on another screen because I have to, check personal emails, et cetera, which I wish in some ways emails never existed, but that's a different story.
I did.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think when you're doing a screen, part of it from a fatigue standpoint is just eye strain. So there's a 20-20-20 rule. So you look at something like every 20 minutes you take a 20-second break and look at a 20-foot away object just to kind of break up the continuous. So, you can either get up and walk around or at least, look at something. Even if you're reading something different off a screen, that's enough to help. But if you're looking further away, it'll decrease some of the muscles you're using for up close. So it kind of gives that a rest. So that's one thing. Computer glasses, so it'll help screen with the blue light.
The blue light,
That's the part that gives us most of our problems. It also helps a little bit anti-reflective, I guess, so that there's some less fatigue. And to make sure that, obvious things like the screen's in the right position, the right height, the right angle, so you're not working harder than you need to.
Wow.
So that'll help with your eye strain. As far as, avoiding the use of screens at work, I don't know how you do that depending on your role.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. I remember going to the doctor's and then doing like an eye exam. It was like an initial visit. And I haven't had that in a long time. And I remember she was like, okay, read that third line. I said, oh my, hold on. I couldn't read it. And it was like taking a while to like adjust. I was like, I just can't read that at all. Like, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah. I've noticed my eyesight has gotten worse as the years go by as well.
I mean, as one could say, it's probably because of our age too.
Well,
but
yes, getting older naturally. But
well, and I think there's probably been, I don't know the studies, but I suspect that we're putting kids in glasses sooner now. I don't know that for sure, but I would suspect that that's probably a case.
yeah.
we are. We are. My daughter, she has glasses, and she got them when she was 3. Her right eye wasn't as strong as her left eye. So her left eye is very perfect. Like there's no prescription in there, but her right eye lags a little bit. So they've just been trying to strengthen it. But man, did I feel like a failure. Because like first child, we're trying to like,
You're learning how to be a parent.
and trying to just keep going. But also it was during COVID for some context. So there was only so much we can do. We were freaked out about this, freaked out about that. Just kind of like, it was just us. So I was like, man, like, did I give her too much screen time? We really did try to limit though on that. But I still felt that guilty. I was like, did I do this to her? And I felt so bad. I'm like, no, it's just something that's part of her brain. But now that you're saying this, I don't know.
Well, that may have not been from screen time. That just, the kids have had glasses for a long time before we had, computers.
This is true.
and-
Yeah,
and
this is true,
phones,
for sure.
But I suspect that some of the close proximity of continuously straining your eyes in that way has probably impacted some negatively.
Yeah. One thing that I'm sure we're all aware of, and that it is talked about out there, but the mental health that children,
Yeah.
teenagers, even adults really take on when there's too much screen time or just too much focus on.
A lot of other lives to compare their lives to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Doucet, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we're seeing an increase in behavioral health or mental health issues across all age groups, but particularly in the younger kids and the adolescents, teenagers. Now, granted, this is not all due to screen time. This is environmental. This is your, where you live, who you live with, what's going on at school, how is your support structures. But I do believe, and I think that the general consensus is the increased screen time has impacted younger kids and adolescents, teenagers, to where it's increasing emotional disturbance, particularly depression and anxiety. And if you figure, you recall, it's hard enough being a teen anyhow.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to throw anything else out there that makes it even more difficult. And I think that when you're stuck on your screen, you're not communicating, so you're not really forming those bonds of support that you, as a human being, you need.
Yeah.
And you're also, I think, being falsely advertised to, in the sense that every woman's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every man's got the big fast car and lots of money, and success is just you're a loser because everyone else is bigger, better, more pretty, more rich, etc. So
Yeah.
I think that comparison, false comparison, is actually making a big difference as well. They've also seen behavioral issues that come out of that. So the way they are they doing what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it the way they're supposed to do it. And again, I think that it's not due exclusively to screen time. It's due to everything else as well around them. And it's not to be, I don't think we've ever related this I think if you're just doing your schoolwork on your screen time, that's fine. It's really those extra things, those
Right.
non-educational after hours, a lot of times not being monitored by parents, so you don't know what else they're getting. We really haven't gone into, when I was growing up, you had to go search for pornography. Now it's right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
sometimes even when you're not looking for it, it's right
Yep,
there. So
so
that's
true.
made a big impact as well.
Yeah.
So those are things to consider.
That desensitization
Yes.
experiencing video games.
Yes.
Like, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
it's
no,
good.
it's
yeah.
true.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That's true. I had a thought.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. Yeah, it's a whole other world that's like they want to be part of that looks attractive to them. I think with now especially as parents, we have to be just much more vigilant of what our kids are
Absolutely, yeah.
doing, seeing, because everything's being very cheeky.
Oh, yeah.
I would say like sneaking their way through into
Very masquerading.
like
as
usual
something
platforms
that's
of
not, yeah.
yep like this is what you're gonna watch. I'm not speaking from like a 5-year-old point over here, but like this is what's being advertised to watch, and it's not that. It's something so different, even just what they're saying, what they're doing. Like she's could possibly be,
Right.
being engulfed in that. But
Well, and I noticed even as an adult, I will be doom scrolling, like we mentioned earlier, and it'll be subjects on conspiracy theories and the end of the world and the CIA and, really deep state things that
you in a hole.
and it gets you in a hole. And I remember just being mid scroll one day and just, I believe in God. So hearing God tell me, be careful with what you consume. So I try to, have that ring in my head as much as possible, when I get in those spurts of scrolling, like be careful what you consume, be careful what you consume. Because it affects me as an adult even. Gives me anxiety.
I do have to say, love my dad, love him, but like, so he retired, and so one thing I've always told him, like, Dad, don't become stagnant. Like, let's get your brain
Yes,
going,
keep moving.
Which I think we'll
Yep.
eventually talk about, like digital dementia. But like, get your brain going. Let's stay active up there.
Yeah.
But he loves the news, and then like now, like, and this is a whole other conversation, but like, what the news puts out, like it's definitely not always the positive. So like it becomes him. It
Yeah.
becomes like what he's taking in. It's affects like his attitude. It affects his point of views when things were just about like movies that were just put out, or what's going on the other side of the world, our government, la la
Right,
la.
yeah.
It really takes an effect, no matter how young, how old you may be. Like, screen time is definitely needs to be
Yeah.
limited.
At every age.
Well, and the algorithms will also feed what you're looking at. So,
Yeah.
one case example, there was one stock that I did a little bit of research on, and then suddenly I kept getting all these feeds about this stock, but it was kind of intermixed with everything else.
Yeah.
So it made it look like, wow, there's all this activity around this stock, but it really wasn't. It was just feeding it because I had looked at that stock. So had I not had that awareness,
Yeah.
I may have thought, wow, this is a stock I should buy
Yeah.
more of, and really it wasn't going anywhere. So, that's just one example of an algorithm that once you kind of start feeding into some topic, it's gonna know that and feed you that stuff. I mean, it's really kind of scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
It is.
So
Yeah.
it's like another world out there trying to, I won't say attack you, but
Like
it's
suck you in.
Kind of,
Yeah.
suck you in. Yeah,
No,
that's a good
yes.
word. Yeah.
For real. And our mental health, man, like depression, anxiety, behavioral issues, like I think I can definitely relate to like, good doom scrolling. I just get into this funk. I'm like, oh my gosh, all this can happen tomorrow. And like it changes everything. I'm like, okay, I need to relax.
Yes.
Rely on the Lord over here and take myself out of this. But yeah, so it makes you just think like if we're feeling this as an adult, I can't imagine
Right.
between 0 and 2.
How they're feeling
Like-
in those little teeny bodies.
Yeah, and their brains are not computing of like what's happening on the screen or anything. It's just very much overstimulation
Right. Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. So it does. I mean, it obviously impacts us as adults. I think it's even more impactful in the developing brain. So if you look at what the studies have shown, they talk about like the higher screen times have affected their communication skills. So how well do they listen? How well do they speak? How well do they understand? And that, again, we kind of talked about it or alluded to it earlier. That's not just at that age, but that carries into life, right? So,
Right.
you don't do as well in school. That limits your job opportunities. When you go to get your job, if you can't communicate well with your colleagues, but also with customers, that's going to limit your available roles within whatever career option you choose. So it really does make a big impact. And the sooner that we can kind of get hold of that and recognize it, and, I mean, I'm not saying throw your phones away, but
Right.
there's a way of, it's candy. I mean, candy's okay, but it's in quantities that are appropriate. You would never let your kid eat candy every day at every meal
Right.
all day long. Well, some do, but they shouldn't. So it's just like anything else. And I don't think we recognize the impact that screen time can have on our children. And I think that's an important thing. I mean, it does affect your milestones, like how you develop. There's delays in that as well. And critical thinking. I mean, it's if you're only constantly getting information thrown at you, and you're in a passive state, you're just watching and receiving, then you're not using that part of the brain to problem solve, which then creates the ability to critically think. So
That's
you
it
know,
right
you
there.
have to do math, you have to read something and interpret something, not just take someone else's opinion on it. There's things that are important to develop early on, so that carries on into adulthood.
Oh my goodness.
Would you say that it could stifle that natural feeling of wanting to learn and kind of expand your education?
Yeah, because your dopamine centers, it creates a release of certain chemicals in your brain that makes you feel good. So that's why people continue to reach for their screen and doom. I mean, because you really, what do you call it, doom
Scrolling.
Sorry. I've heard it before. I just forget it. I mean, why would you wouldn't logically ever do that?
Right.
Like, what a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do it because you don't realize that there are chemicals in your brain that are making you happy to do it.
Yeah.
So
Like a muscle memory type of situation.
it's even more than, it's almost like it's like people who work out not because it gives them a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things in our life that we do that gives us that little hit, and that's one of them. And so that's part of that addictive nature, because you want that feeling.
Okay,
so you have to kind of break that feeling, and you have to limit how much exposure so you're not getting it all the time.
Man.
Wow.
Man.
That makes sense.
And sometimes this may be like tough to hear, like, oh no, can't be me, won't be me. But we all have some type of, well, not Dr. Doucet in his 2 hours.
With the exception of Dr. Doucet in his 2 hours of average daily.
Well, I do sometimes have the TV on or the screening, or what do you call it, like Netflix on in the background when I'm working on a computer, halfway watching it.
Yes.
Yep.
Which is good, because I can watch those shows multiple times because I can't remember what
Right,
happened because I'm not
exactly.
paying attention. But
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I just, and I think maybe it's a recognition that I knew. It's kind of like video games. I won't play them because I know that I'll get addicted to them. Because when I was young, way before y'all's time, Pac-Man and Asteroids. I mean, even those, it's like, I guess it was a dopamine hit for those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another
So-
quarter.
So when the kids got the PS4, I'm like, I don't want to start playing this game because I know that I'm going to want to continue to play. So I just avoid them. So,
Okay. So we mentioned how, on social media, there's this ideal of like how we need to be, how it looks, everything like that. What you said about how your children are and how they like to read, how like they see just things differently compared to like probably most of the population. What are some tips that you can give to parents, whether they're younger, older, their kids are everywhere on the age spectrum there, but like what are some tips that you can give so we can begin making a difference?
So I think first you'd have to set the example. Like my wife and I don't think either one of us are very much into the social media. She has a med spa, so if she's on social media, it's because she's doing something to enhance the med spa, right?
Yeah.
It's more work related. So neither one of us, I think, set an example where we were really on our phones all the time. Again, at the table, like when we're walking around our house, you just don't see our kids on the phone. I mean, really. So I think that's the first thing. I think as parents, you sit down and you make a decision about how are we going to approach this and create a plan, and then you sit down with your kids and say, okay, this is the plan. So, limit the number of hours per day. Yeah. I think some of the phone programs now, I've never had to do it because we didn't really have a problem with our kids, but I think you can create a situation where your kids only get so much screen time. Like I know my brother-in-law required his kids, they had to do so much of, I think, learning Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And he would monitor the amount of time doing that, and then they got that much screen time for every minute. They
I
got a
love
minute or
that.
something
Wow.
along those lines.
That's
so
Yeah.
that's how he kind of controlled it
Nice.
and got them to do something he wanted them to do.
Yeah.
To form their brain.
Yeah.
So that's one. That's an option there. I think you have to have some like maybe screen-free zones, like at the dinner table or the living room when we're gathering as a family. There's just no phones. Obviously not an hour before bedtime. And then deciding on content, like what's about, like our kids never had TikTok on their phone, and a few other things we didn't allow when they were younger. Now that they're older, they can do what they want. But
Right.
it's hard. I mean, it's hard because everyone else is
I'm
doing
sure.
Yeah.
it. If I had to do over, I would have got flip phones for my kids, not smartphones, until they were much older.
Okay.
like
Yes.
that
You know,
too.
that's another
Yeah,
trend
that's a
that's
good
coming
one.
out, actually. I've seen videos. People are
Yay.
literally switching to flip phones.
Well, and we really did get ours early. Like, I don't think we gave our kids phones early, but we did when we felt that there were times where they may be somewhere, then they needed to contact us.
Of
So it was more for a safety reason. We
Yes.
could have done that with a flip phone. Not with,
Yeah.
So we probably went to the smartphones too quick, looking back. But again, I wasn't aware of all this back then. So
Right.
I think I remember 5th grade year for me. That's when like the Razor came out.
I had a
And
razor too.
well, I didn't get lucky with the Razor, but I got lucky with this like butterfly phone. I remember it. I think it being called, and it was just to call out. Like it wasn't.
That was my first phone too. It was shaped like a frog.
Oh,
My very first phone. It was like this little
Nice.
frog phone. It had like little frog ears at the top, and it had 4 buttons on it. And it was pre-programmed with my parents' numbers. It was
There
4
you go.
numbers: mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and that was it. That was all I could do. Mm-hmm. It was
like,
for emergencies.
and it was just like, and that's because the phones back then it was like text maybe, but more like the snake game and everything like that. But yeah, mine was just for calling out, and not anything advanced back then.
yeah.
I think those are very great tips there. I know we wanted to talk about digital dementia because that is a very much real thing. What do you got to say about that?
it is. So I mean, it's not an official diagnosis in the medical field, but it does have some basis on the correlation of the more screen time you have, the more effect it has on your cognition. So, for one thing is it affects, or you would have poor executive function. So executive function are those things that help you in daily living. So how do I plan and organize my life? I mean, how do I control my emotions, my actions, those kind of everyday things that go on that you don't really think about, but that you do? It impacts that. So you will not have as well-developed executive function.
So,
Okay.
would you say, just for example, if there's a correlation between like too much screen time or, I'll just say too much screen time and anger issues?
Oh.
So there is a correlation with, I mean, I don't know if I've read a study or seen a study that specifically states that, but the information would suggest that that could be a component of your anger issue. Now, your socioeconomic environment around you contributes, right?
Yeah.
As much or more, obviously. So, but it doesn't help you to mature in the way that you would normally mature if you were not exposed to all the screen time. Again, depending upon content, not educational content.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really an issue. I mean, I think we probably do a little bit too much screen time at schools, but it is what it is. But at least you're thinking, you're using your brain to problem solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're
Using those
stimulating in a
muscles.
different way
Right.
than
Yeah.
doom scrolling or watching just, like I occasionally get sent something from usually my brother-in-laws actually, with something with Instagram. I don't have Instagram. Sometimes I can open it, sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get it just to open those things. But I'm amazed that, usually what they send me, it's kind of cute, funny, whatever. And then it usually goes to the next thing. And I'm amazed that people would actually sit and watch this stuff. Like, because I'm not used to it, right? It's different
Yeah.
to me. And I'm like, it is, I mean,
What
I
in the
don't,
world?
I don't want to
Entertainment.
say what I think about
The
people that do that,
entertainment
but
value.
I'm just like amazed. Like, how
But hey,
could
that's
you?
a whole nother perspective, like because you
It
don't
is, yeah.
spend that time. Oh my gosh! So it's like two different worlds, just like if anything. Right here, you have a more clear, crisp notion of like what reality is, if anything. And then like there's
Junk.
like
I'll just say it is junk.
yes,
And
yeah. And then compare it
have
to
the
someone
junk.
who's just always on social media and they see that like, oh, that was funny. Move on.
Yeah.
Rather than like junk.
Well, and think
Right.
about, desensitization occurs in a lot of different forms, right? So, I mean, one is just, modesty. I mean, if you look at when I was growing up versus now, you would not see anyone, or if you saw someone on the street wearing what they're wearing now, back then, you just would die. I mean, there's just no way. It's just a complete different perspective, right? But now we're just like, oh yeah, she's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
she's wearing spandex, and you should have to get a license to wear that for that particular person. But anyhow, I digress. But so with I think when you're looking at digital items,
yes.
your brain is only going to get stimulated if it's more extreme than what it was before.
Oh.
So now you've got everyone with a camera that has a voice,
Yeah.
no matter what their moral, ethical, intellectual capabilities are, that can put anything out there. And you're going to constantly go for the more extreme. So the longer you spend on screen time, the more junk
Oh my
and junkier,
Yeah.
that's even a word, you're going to look for and look at
Yeah.
because you have to be stimulated, and you're not going to be stimulated with the same stuff as you were
Yeah.
before.
It's like wanting
Wow.
more, wanting more, wanting more.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So if let's say I know you're in social media, so you probably do much more than I do. It would probably take a lot more to capture your attention than it would be mine, because I just don't do it that much.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, like with social media, like what's that hook that's going to bring in? What's going to capture the
Oh, yeah.
attention? But it's so different. Like, and it's crazy. It's so different for people it's so different for everybody. But that makes more sense coming from your perspective of, I mean, it's not going to capture my attention compared to yours. And it's
sure.
not because of how you said it. It's,
Well, and that's what's hard in business too, is we're targeting a completely different audience
Yeah.
and generation with that same wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. So what do you do?
Well, and the more you look at something, so how many images are we getting per day? I forget what the number is, but it's extreme, right? Like between TV, social media, all the advertising signs and everything. So in the midst of that, you have to figure out a way to stimulate or capture their attention, which means you have to go extreme.
Right.
Like as a business owner that's trying to promote something, I can't just get on there and say, hey, I do
pick
really
me.
good, I'm going to show up on time.
Yeah.
I'm going to communicate and do good work. They just
Right.
won't buy it anymore, right?
Yeah.
You have to jump off a building, burn it, because it's the only way I'm going to capture attention. But that's you correlate that with all the items that our kids are seeing, then the reality for them changes, right? So it's really kind of scary when you really stop and think about it. Don't throw your phones away, but definitely get hold of them.
this is a very good conversation. Very eye opener to a lot.
It makes me want to change my life a little bit.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because when someone
really
says
does.
like screen time, someone could just think like, oh, too much TV. Oh, just too much phone. Like,
Yeah.
wait. Let's literally decode this and break it down, because I'm mind blown.
Me too. Me too. I think a lot of the time when we hear screen time too, it's like, how can we mitigate that in our children? We don't really think about us as adults. And it's just as important.
And I try to limit even my computer time, but with work, and you go home and you always have personal emails, trying to catch up on those.
Yep.
It's way more time than I like to be on a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2020 rule.
2020
I'm gonna
rule.
bring a book,
Yep.
maybe a puzzle to my desk now.
Here we go. We're going to be doing puzzles at our desks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Dan Doucet, is there anything else you would like to say?
Any further
for our
words
audience?
of wisdom?
Yeah.
No, I think the takeaways are recognize that this impacts your kids and yourself, but your family. Set some limits, reasonable limits. I mean, you can't go from 8 hours a day to less than one
Yeah.
and be successful. You might, but chances are. So, start culling it back, even if you have to do it over time. I think, continue with the educational content. Don't worry about that part. Worry about all the time that's spent outside that's not educational in nature.
Okay.
Got
Look
it.
at quality, look at the time. So if don't do anything until 2,
Okay.
and then after that, you can do 1 hour a day. Don't do more than 1 hour a day until you're 6, and then you can do 2 hours
Okay.
Noted.
of good quality
Good
content.
quality.
And you don't have to do 2
Good
hours.
stuff, not the junk.
It's just don't do more than 2 hours.
A good
and
quality,
not
Miss Rachel.
1 hour before you sleep. I think people really,
Yeah.
including myself,
for sure.
is often guilty of that.
Yeah.
There's this one moment that we woke up Saturday morning. We have a 14-month-old, so now with the time change, she wakes up literally 5 a.m. and it feels like
God
5
bless.
hours when it's 7 a.m. We woke up. I put on the Delilah radio on iHeartRadio.
Delilah.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love
Because that's what I grew up with my
Me
mom.
too.
And no TV. The sun was coming in. We ate breakfast, and it was so
Oh,
perfect.
That's beautiful.
It was so perfect because no one was like, "Rah." But all that noise that you mentioned earlier, there was no noise.
I love
I'm
that.
gonna do that every day now.
You should.
But thank you, Dr. Doucet, for
Thank you for
coming
having me.
in.
Yes,
you
thank
really
you.
opened up a lot of eyes here, and I'm sure our viewers feel the exact same way.
Well, like I said before, I've been told I have a face for radio, so this worked out pretty well.
Watch.
We'll have to get the team Doucet sometime on the podcast.
Yes. We already told her too, so we gotta get both of y'all on.
Well, somebody has to marry down, and I got the better part of that deal, so just don't tell her.
It's funny she did mention something like that last time. She's like, there's a little power dynamic here that we have to settle out. Oh, I love her. So thank you everyone for joining in on this episode. Hope you learned a lot. We sure did.
Yes, we
Thanks for
did.
listening into our first audio episode that we are now live on Spotify. Check us out. Link is below in our comments. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias that we just talked about on our screen limit time. Make sure you limit those hours, and we'll see y'all soon.
Catch you later.
Bye.